Hello, welcome to another tutorial. If you're new here, my name is Dee. Today we're making this beautiful cover-up dress that you're seeing. I love how it turned out, so if you feel like this is your vibe, keep watching and remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We're going to start with the top part and then later make the skirt and then join them together to bring out this beautiful outfit. But if you want it to be a two-piece, that's also fine. I'm making a size small to medium, but you can make this in any size following the instructions that I'll be giving, so you can take your own measurements for that. With all that being said, let's get to the materials and get started. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need 3 or 1 ring. And then for the hooks, you're going to need 2 hooks. I used the blue one for the top, which is a 3.50 millimeter hook. And then for the skirt, I used a bigger hook than the recommended hook on the skein of yarn. So this is a 5.50 millimeter hook. You'll need a tape measure, you'll need a darning needle, and for the yarn, I used a total of 4 skeins. This is what is left from the 4th skein of yarn. This is Yarn Bee Fundamental Cotton Yarn. It's mercerized yarn. It's a size 4 medium weight. Okay guys, so in order to make this top, we need to make 2 identical diamond shaped pieces, and here I have my first one completed. So we're now going to make the second one together, and it's going to look exactly the same as this one. Okay, so I'll put this aside, get my yarn, and we're going to start with a slip knot. So now you have this loop. You're going to insert your hook, chain 4, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're going to yarn over, and in the 4th chain, so you're not counting this loop that's on the hook, you're counting this one right here. So you count 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th, you're going to yarn over and make a double crochet. Okay, so we now have a chain of 3 and a double crochet here. Okay, so, and we have this loop here which we're going to work into next. So chain 3, yarn over, and in this loop that we just created, we're going to insert our hook and make a double crochet. We're going to do that again. Chain 3, yarn over, and in this loop we are going to make a double crochet. Okay, so now we have these loops going on, and we are starting with this chain that is going to go around the neck, and then it will crisscross at the back of the top. Okay, so you're going to repeat that over and over until you have enough strap for yourself. Okay, so you're going to continue making a chain of 3 and then making a double crochet in the previous loop. Chain 3, make a double crochet in the previous loop. I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 70 loops, and then I will be back so we can learn how to do the rest. Okay, I have my 70 loops completed, and this is long enough for my client, so you can make yours for as long as you wish. So we're now going to start our first row. We're going to chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, and then we're going to turn our chain around like so, and on top of this first stitch where the chain is coming out of, you're going to yarn over and make a half double crochet. So that's our first stitch, And then on top of this chain, we're going to yarn over and make a half double crochet on top of it. And that's going to be our first row. We have 2 stitches. We have 2 half double crochets. Row 2, chain 2, which does not count as a stitch. Turn your work, and on top of this first stitch, you're going to make 2 half double crochets. That's 1 and 2, all in the same stitch. Yarn over, and on top of the next stitch, we are going to make 2 half double crochets as well on top of it. So insert your hook and make 2 half double crochets. So we have made an increase in both stitches, and we now have a total of 4 stitches here. Row 3, chain 2 and turn your work, and on top of this first stitch, we're going to make 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2, then yarn over, and on top of the next 2 stitches, we're going to make 1 half double crochets. That's 1. Then on top of the next stitch, make your second half double crochet, then yarn over, and we have 1 last stitch right here, and we're going to place the 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2. So we have made an increase on top of the first stitch, and we made another increase on top of the last stitch, and we're going to repeat that. Chain 2, turn your work. On top of that first stitch, you're going to yarn over and make 2 half double crochets, all in that same stitch. And then you're going to make 1 half double crochet on top of the next stitches until you have 1 stitch left. Once you have 1 stitch left, you're going to place the 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2. And there we have made an increase at the beginning and at the end, and that's the pattern we're going to keep repeating. Chain 2, turn your work, yarn over, and on top of that first stitch, make 2 half double crochets, then make 1 half double crochet until you have 1 stitch left at the end. Once you have 1 stitch left, you're going to place the 2 half double crochets to complete the row. Okay, and that's the pattern. Chain 2, turn your work, start with 2 half double crochets in the same stitch, then make 1 half double crochet in every stitch until you have 1 stitch left. Once you have 1 stitch left, you're going to place the 2 half double crochets. Chain 2 and repeat the pattern. I'm going to continue making this pattern until I get the widest, my desired length for the widest part of the bust that I'm making. So I'll show you using this one that I've already completed. what you're going to do is measure yourself from one rib cage to another, and then the number you get, you're going to divide it by 2. For the top that I'm making, the measurement from one rib cage to another is 15 inches. So that means I'm going to divide 15 inches by 2. Okay, so 15 inches by 2. That means each of my diamond shapes is going to be 7.5 inches. Like the widest part is going to be 7.5 inches wide. Okay, I hope that is understandable. So if yours is, let's say you need to get to 9, that means you're going to keep increasing until you get to 9. Okay, if it's 10, you keep increasing until this widest part goes all the way to 10 inches. Okay, I hope you have understood that. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. All right, I'm going to repeat until I have this much length. Okay, and then I'll be back so I can show you guys how we're going to decrease and make the diamond shape. Okay, so I'm back, guys, and I have my desired width of 7.5 inches. So I'm going to stop increasing from here, but if you have to, continue increasing until you get your desired width. Okay, so like I said, I have 18 inches complete. I have 18 rows completed, and starting from the next row, we're going to start decreasing. Chain 2, turn your work just like how we've been doing, then yarn over. On top of the first stitch, you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them at once. Okay, and there we have made our first decrease. Then after that decrease, you're going to make 1/2 double crochet on top of every stitch until you have 2 stitches left at the end. Okay, I'm at the end of my row. This is row 19, and I have 2 stitches left, and what I'm going to do here is make a decrease. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and you will have 5 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all at once. And there we have made our decrease at the beginning and at the end. Okay, row 20, chain 2, turn your work, yarn over, and you're going to make your first decrease. Insert your hook in the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and you'll have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through everything. And then after that, make 1/2 double crochet on top of every stitch until you have 2 stitches left at the end. At the end, you're going to make your last decrease. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook in the last stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through everything. Chain 2, turn your work, make your first decrease, then make 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you have 2 stitches left at the end. Once you have 2 stitches left, you're going to make your last decrease. And then you're going to repeat that pattern over and over. I'm going to do that for a total of 16 more rows. I'm supposed to make 17, so I'll be back so I can make the 17th row with you guys. Okay, now off to make the last row. Chain 2, turn your work. Then we're going to end with a decrease. So I've made a decrease and then 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next, pull up a loop, and then pull through everything. And that's how you're going to make the last row. Then chain 1. We're not going to cut off the yarn at this point because we're going to work around it like this, and then we're going to attach our ring right here. Okay, before we move to the next step, I'm going to show you guys how long this is. And starting from the first row to where we have stopped, it's 11 inches long. Okay, we already know the width, so we're now going to, we still have our yarn attached right here, so we're going to work all the way to this point so we can attach the ring. So this is how we're going to work this part. You're going to chain 1, okay, and then in that first row you're going to make a single crochet like so, chain 3, then in that same space you're going to insert your hook and make a slip stitch. Then in the next row you're going to make 1 single crochet, and then in the next row you're going to make 1 single crochet, chain 3, then in that same space make a slip stitch. Okay, like that. Then the next row gets 1 single crochet, then in the next make 1 single crochet, chain 3, then in that same space make a slip stitch. And we're going to go on like this until we get to the widest part. Alright guys, I have made it to row 16, and at this point we're going to get our ring. So the next row is supposed to get a single crochet, and what we're going to do is get our ring, insert our hook in the next row, and at the same time going through the ring, then pull up a loop and make a single crochet. In that same space, insert your hook again for the second time and make a single crochet. Then now we're going to go through the next row. So insert your hook in the next row and at the same time through the ring and make 2 single crochets all in that same space. We're going to do it again in the next row. So insert your hook through both the ring and the row and make 2 single crochets in that space. And this is what you will have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 single crochets in the ring. We have 6 stitches in total through the ring. And now in this same stitch where we last made the single crochet, we're going to go through it one more time, and this time we're going to go through with a slip stitch and that's what you will have. Then in the next row, insert your hook, make another slip stitch, then chain 3, and then slip stitch again in that same space, and you will have this. We have our ring right here, but we'll be able to attach it on the other side of the top. So the next row gets a single crochet, single crochet in the next row, chain 3, and then slip stitch in that same space, single crochet in the next space, single crochet in the next one, then chain 3 and make a slip stitch in that same row. And we're going to continue like that until we get to the top. The next row gets 1 single crochet, single crochet in the next one, chain 3, and then slip stitch, single crochet once, 1 single crochet in the next, chain 3, then make a slip stitch, and continue like that. So this here is my last row, and I'm going to go in with a slip stitch, okay, then slip stitch in this next space, and what we're trying to do is cross over to this other side of the top. Make a slip stitch and try as much as possible not to make these too tight. So slip stitch, chain 1 once you get to the other side, you're going to chain 3. I've already chained 1, so this is the second one, and then in that same space make a slip stitch, single crochet in the next row, single crochet in the next, chain 3, then make a slip stitch in that same space, and you're going to repeat this same pattern. Oh, one more thing, once you get to the to this other side, right here on this other side, on the widest part, this is where the strap is going to go through one of these loops, so you may want to make it longer. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then I'm going to make a single crochet in the next row, like so. I now have this loop that will be big enough for this to go through and then be tied at the back of the top. Okay, single crochet in the next row, chain 3, then slip stitch in the same space, and then you're going to repeat the pattern that we've been doing. I just wanted to show you this part so you can make this loop bigger. Okay, I have made it to the end, and this is my last row, and I'm going to place there a single crochet, then chain 1, then I'm going to cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail. Leave a long tail because we're going to use this to sew it to the other part of our project. So before you work on the second piece, you need to align your work and see how you want your piece to be, like where you want it to face, whether you want this part where the single crochets is facing you should be the front part, or if you want this side to be the right side. I have made it to the 16th row, and in the 16th row, that is where we're going to start attaching our ring again. So get your ring, make sure that the straps are all on the same side. So get your ring, insert your hook into the ring and in the next row, and then make 2 single crochets in that same space. Insert your hook through the ring and in the next row at the same time, and place there 2 single crochets. Insert your hook through the ring and in the next row, and make 2 single crochets, and then you're going to end with a slip stitch in that same space, like so. Then chain 1, and we have now attached our ring, and this is how your work should be looking. So from here we're just going to keep going until we get to this side, and then we cross over to the other side just like we did earlier. I just made it to the end, and to complete I'm just going to make a slip stitch like so. Chain 1, get my scissors, then cut, leaving a long tail to help us attach to the skirt portion of the outfit. And this is what you should have. Now that the top is done, we're going to make the skirt. You can also decide to have this as a 2-piece. That would also be nice. So let's dive into the skirt tutorial. To make the skirt, for the skirt part, I'm going to be using the double crochet foundation chain. If this is hard for you, you can simply make a chain long enough to go around your hips. Just remember to keep it in multiples of 3. So make your chain, wrap it around your hips to make sure it can go through your hips. Make your first round of double crochets, and then get back to the tutorial so you can learn the rest. Alright, so this is how we're going to do the double crochet foundation chain method. You're simply going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to yarn over, and in the third chain from the hook, you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop. You will have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, and I need you to keep your eyes on that first loop that we pull through because it's very important. So pull through 1, and then you'll have 3 loops left on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And there you have made a double crochet. Then yarn over, and in that loop that I told you guys to keep your eyes on, you're going to insert your hook, making sure to go through both loops like so. Pull up a loop, you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1. Again, keep your eyes on that first loop that we pull through. And then you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 2. We do that again, yarn over, insert your hook in that first loop that we pulled through. Make sure to go through both loops. Pull up a loop like so. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1. Then you'll have this loop, so keep your eyes on it. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. and we're going to keep doing that until we have our desired length. I'll be making a total of 96 double crochets, so I'll keep going until I have that number, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. I'm actually using this method for the very first time in my crochet journey, and I love it. I love that it saves you time, and at the end of it, the first row is super stretchy, so you really don't have to make a bunch of chains and all that stuff. So I think I'll be using this method more often, depending on what I'm making and all. Yeah. So back to the tutorial. Keep going until you have your desired length, and then I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back after making my 96 double crochets, and this is how my first row looks. It's super stretchy, which is good for this pattern. So yeah, I'm now going to show you guys the measurements. It measures 31 inches when not stretched, and when you stretch it, it goes all the way to 43 inches. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys the whole thing on the screen, but if you are a hip measurement of 43, this will be able to fit you. Or if you are a hip measurement of 30 and want a loose fitting, you should be able to wear this as well. Okay, so now we move on to the next row. Okay, to start our next round, we're going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. So ignore this first chain two that we have, but on top of the next stitch, you're going to make a slip stitch like so. And this is what you should have. And then we're going to close off this. You're simply going to insert your hook in the first stitch and pull through that strand of yarn to close it off. Or you can use a darning needle. It will work as long as you simply close it off. There is no technique to it. You just need it tight and secured. Row 2, you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and this is going to count as our first stitch for this round. Then yarn over, and on top of that stitch where the chain is coming out of, you're going to insert your hook and make your second double crochet. So we have 2 stitches in total here. After that, you're going to chain 2, yarn over, skip 1, and in the next make 1 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 1 stitch, and into the next, make a double crochet, and you're going to repeat that 5 times. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. I have 2 double crochets in the same stitch, skip the stitch, chain 2, double crochet, and I did that 5 times. Now after that, you're going to chain 2, skip 1 stitch, and into the next you're going to make 2 double crochets in that stitch. Okay, after that you're going to chain 2, skip a stitch, make a double crochet, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and we're basically repeating what we just did here. We're repeating this 5 times. So here I have 1, 2, 3. I have 2 more to go. Okay, And after that, you simply chain 2, skip 1, and into the next make 2 double crochets, all in the same stitch. And this is what we are going to repeat. You basically make 2 double crochets in the same stitch, you skip 1, and you repeat, making that mesh pattern for a total of 5 stitches between the 2 double crochets that we have in the same stitch. So every time you're done making the 2 double crochets in the same stitch, you're going to make 1 double crochet. You're going to chain 2 and make 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet as you skip 1 stitch, and you do that 5 times, and then you make another set of 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and that's going to be the pattern for this round. So we repeat, chain 2, skip a stitch, 1 double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to repeat that 5 times. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means I make 2 double crochets in this next stitch. Okay. So that's the pattern you're going to repeat for this round. I will meet you guys right at the end of the round. All right, I'm working towards the end of my round, and I'm chaining 2 here, skipping the next stitch and making 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once you get to the end, chain 2 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3 that we started with. Okay. And that marks the end of round 2. Now we're off to round 3. You're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch. We're not turning our work in this pattern. Then you're going to slip stitch in the next chain 2 space, chain 3, which is going to count as your first stitch, yarn over, and in that same space make a double crochet. So you now have 2 double crochets here, chain 2, skip the next double crochet, and into the chain 2 space make 1 double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and you're going to repeat until you get right here where we have 2 double crochets. So once you get to this point, you're going to chain 2 and skip those 2 double crochets and make 2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space. So just keep in mind that you make the 2 double crochets, you skip the previous 2 double crochets to make these next 2 double crochets. I hope that makes sense, because we are making the 2 double crochets only to the left side. Moving on, chain 2, make 1 double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, 1 double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and now in the next space we make 2 double crochets, all in the same space. You should have this. And you're basically going to repeat that pattern. Now we make chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and keep going like that. When you get here, again you skip the next 2 and make 2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space. And that's what I'm going to keep repeating, and I'll meet you guys at the end. When you get to the end of round 3, this is my last stitch, you're simply going to chain 2, and again you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain to complete the round. And that's how you close it off. And round 4 is just the same as round 3. So you're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch and slip stitch in the chain 2 space, then chain 3, 1 double crochet in the same space the chain 3 is coming out of, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and you're simply going to repeat that pattern. Then when you get to this point, you're going to skip the next 2 stitches and make 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, like so, chain 2, and continue with the same pattern. Every time you get to this point, you skip the next 2 double crochets and make 2 double crochets in the next space. Then you repeat the pattern again. When you get to the end, slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, slip stitch again on top of the next stitch and in the chain 2 space, and then chain 3 and repeat the same pattern. I'm going to repeat this until I have my desired length, and then I'll be back so I can show you guys how many rows I made and see how long my skirt is gonna be. So this is my last round. And I'm simply going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3, like so. Then let's slip stitch on top of the next, and then chain 1 and pull through the yarn. I have 50 rows completed, and we're now going to see how long it is. Sorry guys, I can't fit the whole thing on the screens, but it is 32 inches long. That is how long it is. So you can make yours longer or shorter depending on the height of the person you're making it for. So the next thing we're going to do is attach some fringes at the bottom of our skirt, which is optional. If you don't want fringes, you don't have to add them. So I have my 3 strands of fringe here, and I'm going to fold it like so. You can have your fringe longer or shorter depending on what you want. So I'm going to fold it like so. This is about 15.5 inches long. You're going to insert your hook in the chain 2 space. Then you're going to pull through your fringe and tie a knot, like so. Pull tight, and this is what you will have. We do that again. I'll get my 3 strands, fold them, insert my hook in the next chain 2 space, pull through like so, making this loop, and then pull the rest of the yarn through. And we're going to repeat that. So here is the skirt with all the fringes attached. This is how it looks, and I hope yours turned out great. So now you're going to figure out where you want the back to be, and for me, I'm going to turn mine around. Now that we have our top and skirt completed, I'm going to show you guys how to attach the top to the skirt without the 2 rings. So if you don't have those 2 rings, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to take you through on how you can do it, and then later I'll show you how to use the rings, okay? So you're going to align everything together, and then you're going to get your darning needle and thread it. If you have stitch markers, put those to use and stitch everything together. But I didn't have to do that, so if you're a beginner, make sure you have your stitch markers with you for this part. And you're simply going to go through both stitches at the same time, okay? You go through the skirt and the top at the same time, like so. And you keep going until you are sure that everything is secured. And then you have to do the same thing on the other side of the top. Okay, this was the last one. I had to go through it twice to make sure that it is secured. And then after that, you're going to weave in the strand that you'll have left on your darning needle. And this is how it will look. Before I show you how to attach the rings to the skirt, you're going to make a chain that's long enough to go around your waist, and then we're going to pull it through the first row of double crochet that we made. I literally had to take everything out because I got the idea to add the 2 rings that I used later at the bottom, and this part was already recorded, so I have to show it to you guys. So once you pull through the chain all the way to the back, and then we'll move on to the rings. Alright, I'm now going to use the rings to attach to the skirt. For those who have them, you can go ahead and learn how to do it. Again, you're going to align your work. If you have stitch markers, use those to stitch everything together so you know what you're working with, okay? Make a slip knot. Then you're going to insert your hook through the ring and at the same time through the top and pull through the loop like so. So we're attaching the ring to the top first, and then we shall do the same thing with the skirt. So in that same space, you're going to make another single crochet in the next space, going through the ring and the top at the same time. And you're simply going to do this until you see that the ring is well secured, making 2 single crochets in every space. And then this is how your work is going to look after that. Then you're going to chain 1, get your scissors and cut off the yarn and pull it tight. Now we're going to repeat that while attaching to the skirt. Insert your hook through the ring and through the 1 stitch of the skirt. Make a slip knot and pull it through the stitch and the ring, and you're simply going to chain 1, and in that same space you're going to make a single crochet. Insert your hook for the second time and make a second one, and you're simply going to be making 2 single crochets in every space. And this is how it will look. And I have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches into the ring, and then you're going to go back with a slip stitch, chain 1, get your scissors and cut off the yarn. And just like that, you are done with that part. Then you're going to get your darning needle and weave in all the tiles. Then we repeat the same thing on the other side of the top, making single crochets around the ring until you feel that it is secured enough. So I'm going to continue making 2 single crochets in every stitch until I have a total of 6. So that's all you're going to repeat. Then you're going to end with a slip stitch, chain 1, and this is what you will have. Then get your scissors and cut off the yarn. And now we're going to attach it to the skirt. We're doing it again on this side of the top. You're simply going to make a slip knot and then insert your hook in the stitch where you want the single crochets to start and through the ring. Pull up a loop, chain 1 to make sure that it's secured, and then you're simply going to make single crochets around the ring. Like I did earlier, I'm going to make a total of 6 single crochets through the ring as I go through the skirt stitches. So by the stitches being 6, that means by the single crochets being 6, it means that I went through only 3 stitches from the skirt. Then this is what you will have. Then you're going to go back through that last stitch with a slip stitch. So insert your hook pull up a loop and make a slip stitch, chain 1, get your scissors and cut off the yarn. Then you're going to pull it through and pull tight, and then you're going to weave in all your strands. And this brings us to the end of the video. If you have watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.